everyone. I don't.
Zero.
Don't know what you said. Thank you, Sarah. So, thank you. So, before anyone wants to head off to the pub, because you were the very kind people who took time out of your schedule, spent money on trains, etc., getting here, does anyone have any questions that they want to ask whilst they're here? And it can't just be, where is the nearest pub? Anyone got any questions?
We've locked the door until we get 3 questions. No. So,
have we done such a good job we don't have any questions?
Matt, go on.
I'll kick one off because hopefully I'll get other people going. I've worked with a few self-employed agents and certainly been one myself. You tend to let yourself down more than you would let down someone else. And we talked about accountability, and I think what maybe corporate or more brokerages maybe offer is accountability, especially when you can be on your own. Who do you recommend? Not pitching me here, but one about.
Do you do this type of stuff, Matt?
Do you recommend to agents to be held accountable by someone at the same kind of level of business, or someone who's doing a bit better? Because I find that the agents that have got that person to confide in would be more interested in getting the work done to not let the other person down than they would themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So if I give you an example of this, so I set up a business called DM & Co with a guy called Dominic Murphy. I was the co. Brilliant. And there we go. Number 1 agent in Southern and Birmingham, weren't we? No, joking. And I remember him ringing me one day, and I was knocking doors on Sill Hill Hall Road. And do you remember when you played football as a kid, at school, your trousers get soaked up to like your knees, your Trutex trousers as well. I was still in Trutex because I just started a business, I couldn't afford a nice suit. But I rang Dom, I was like, Dom, mate, I'm coming back to your office, this is shit. And he literally got Olivia, who's our work experience girl, and Dom, and they were going, one more door. And if I didn't have Dom, I was a self-employed agent by myself, I would have gone to the gym or gone home or whatever. I was humiliated, I was defeated. And I knocked on one more door. They kept me in the porch for 45 minutes. I was shaking like a shitting dog. I was so cold. They gave me the instruction on Sill Hill Hall Road. We didn't sell it, but we had a board for 3 months or whatever on a great road, and we got 5 or 6 instructions off the back of people wanting to view it. That was the difference between us earning profit or not in our second year. I ended up selling that business back, my 50% back to Dom, and then coming down to London, doing Keller Williams, the estate agency, now TA UK. And it's all about that compound. If it wasn't for one more door and him getting Olivia to sing it down the phone, I wouldn't be sat in the chair today, I wouldn't be trying to do what I do. Why do I share that? Not to impress you, but impress upon you. I think one of the biggest reasons self-employed estate agents fail, it's not money, it's mindset, because their head goes 2 or 3 months in, and they don't have that right accountability. Now it's really hard, and I've genuinely tried not to mention the agency UK or talk, but but I'm going to now. We've stopped recording. We stopped recording.
No, we are recording, aren't we?
Oh, we're still recording.
It's not on the podcast. Yeah.
This will be on the outtakes. The big thing, the reason the business resonated with me so much, and I wanted to come and join these guys and come on into the fold, is we talk about mentorship, not management, and it's huge in what we do, and we call it an EAD, a director program. In fact, I'm going to pick on you, Josh. Prime example. Josh rang me one day, we're doing his accountability, and I said, Josh, you're getting married this week. Do you want to do your accountability? And Josh went, yeah, had a great week. I've had a great week. How'd you get on? 3 instructions, and I'm planning for the wedding. I've gone, yeah, he did it. He's a very well-spoken gentleman from northwest London. That's not how he did it. And I went, brilliant, that's really good. So Josh is turning up thinking he's had a great week, and he has. He got 3 instructions, brilliant. I went, so what lead gen did you do? He went, I didn't do any, mate, because I'm preparing for my wedding. I said, where did these instructions come from? Oh, there were referrals and what have you from previous. I said, so they would have come anyway from your previous work. So what have you done to hit that true north? Where are you growing? And the realization moment kicked in of, yeah, I've not had a good week. because that would have already happened. So why am I sharing that? If you're self-employed and you don't have someone to bring you back down to earth, or just share with you, listen, that was going to happen anyway. You never let today's business get in the way of tomorrow. That was there. You've missed out on the opportunity to grow. Now, Josh is a great agent and he's gone on to do great things. But if you're in a self-employed age where you don't have that, and you don't have your mentor, you don't speak to someone in your line or what have you, you're thinking you're doing well, because you are, but really you've let your growth side of the business down. Does that all make sense to everyone? I know I've kind of gone on.
Very quickly, and to give some balance, I'm just going to say, in terms of EXP, because I know we've got a couple
great model
EXP agents in the room. Sam, Chris, because I can see you in my eye line. At EXP, I've heard you guys talk about it online, whether it's you two or anyone else, you call it the wall at EXP, don't you? It's like, is it 3 months, 6 months? They say you hit the wall of like, shit, have I done the right or wrong thing? And I imagine, again, whether it's EXP or another brokerage or whatever, having someone in your world who can hold you accountable, I think it's really important. But for me, just very quickly, my answer on it, I have loads of people that keep me accountable, but I try to make myself publicly accountable, which is why I would like to think, so my podcast goes live on Mondays and Thursdays at 6 a.m. I would like to think if it got to midday, someone would message me going, are you okay? They'd be like, why is the podcast not being released? So it's like that, putting it out to the world, that accountability, that if I don't do it, people think something's wrong.
Yeah, my podcast goes out whenever I get round to sending it. I'm completely...
That's why mine will go out first.
Yeah, I'm completely inconsistently consistent.
Yeah.
And I beat myself up over this, and I will get to the stage where it goes out once a week, and I've got better guests than Simon, and
But at least you're doing it.
Yeah.
Going back to the don't let optimal get in the way of beneficial. So many people have been and gone with the podcast.
You see loads of people now going, I can't believe I lost that MMA fight on socials, and then it goes back to a picture of them like 10 years ago, and they're really out of shape. They're like, wait, we did an MMA fight, right? And it's kind of that moment now of, I'm really annoyed that I'm not consistently posting them each week, but I'm on season 2 and I've had some incredible guests. So back to the point of it, yeah, I'm happy. I just need to get more consistent.
Right, any more questions from anyone at all? Yes.
Hey guys, thanks for the podcast. So I'm safe from home, we do conveyancing. You mentioned a little bit about AI. So for me, where I'm standing and the clients that I'm dealing with every day, I'd say more so than agency, conveyancing is something that really should be transformed by AI.
Yeah.
And agency will take 3 years. I reckon conveyancing will take 6 months, and some stuff we're working on to help that. So it'd be great to hear your sort of opinion on that.
Are you offering investors? Because you're completely right. If you are 50 years plus and you own a conveyancing firm and you're not, but I'm being very generalist there, right? But here's my but you're not investing in AI, right? I'm nearly 40, and you mentioned TikTok, and I'm like, I'm not on that, right? It's for the kids, and I know that's wrong. But where I'm going with this is AI will, because if you look at the process, right? There is advisory, but it's send this, check that, respond to these inquiries, take a limited view. Well, AI can even take the view, and from a legal negligence point of view, it's freaking conveyancing, it's not litigation, right? So it's very simple. So I'm completely, I think if I was in conveyancing right now, I'd be putting every single thing into AI or teaming up with OpenMove. Because it will become standard. There we go. But it will. Conveyancing is going to become so standardised, and coming back to the point of when you see agents, I'm really busy, I've got this client fee, I've got to do everything else. It'll be voice notes to AI to actions like Zapiers and all that stuff. So I'm completely with you. I think the caseload and everything else. And I know I've talked about you about a million times today, Ollie. I want a tenner off you. The process is broken in the UK. It's stupid. I don't need to go on. but actually it will be sped up very, very quickly by all of this. And I'm quite hopeful actually that Simon's obviously the man with the stats, but the listing to sales ratio will dramatically go up, fall throughs will dramatically pull down, and the sales times will dramatically decrease.
Yeah, so very quickly from me. So yeah, full disclosure, I have a vested interest in OpenMove, but I was a big fan of what Ross and Kai are doing, because conveyancing is really annoying in terms of how long it's taking, and obviously AI is just ballooning. But when I started in agency, you would turn your pipeline over 3-4 times a year. Yeah. Whereas now we're getting reports of 2.5 times a year. How can we, within 15 years, how can it be taking, it's about 60% longer than it did when I started? It just doesn't make sense with all the technological advances. So yeah, something needs to change there. But also I think when you look at what a conveyancer charges and estate agency fees, like, I know this is easy to say, but we all need to charge more. And if estate agents, it's quite harsh, but if estate agents spent more time on choosing the right solicitors to get it through to completion, rather than they'll give me a few £100 for a referral, then their pipeline would convert more frequently, they'd have less fall throughs. And then if a solicitor if a solicitor was better at marketing, they wouldn't have to give that money to that estate agent and then pay their people less and then get not as good of people. So it's not really answer on necessarily on the AI side of things, but yeah, the voice of the agent survey, again, keep going back to it. It was incredible, the response in that of what percentage of people were using AI last year versus now. And obviously most people are using it for like images and like blogs and stuff, but yeah, it's only going one way, and it needs to change.
Just to add to that, and I'm going to shout out EXP, who would have thought, in my previous world at Keller Williams, I was fortunate enough to be in a room with Gary Keller on a good few occasions, and my old business partners are the biggest realtor in Cincinnati or Kentucky or whatever, and a number of them are EXP now. And if you look at what Glenn's doing and the tech play, again, I referred to brokerage. We're still not. We don't record this bit. But if you look at the brokerage and AI and the economies of scale and what's being built, my view is you need to align yourself with something like an EXP or whatever. It doesn't matter. But to your point, it'll be all interlinked, and I think conveyancing may just be sucked into the estate agency model anyway.
I agree with that. And we work with about 300 agents, about 100 law firms. And sometimes we struggle when we say AI. We sometimes struggle. People get scared. They're like, "Oh, our clients really like AI." So how do you sort of suggest?
And you've got something to say in a second. I'll saw you put your hand up. The thing, like, it's like when I first joined Home Search a few years ago, and estate agents like to say, "I'm not very good with tech," but it's like, do you use, and I know this is not like being Mark Zuckerberg or anything, but it's like, do you order stuff on Amazon? Yeah. Like, have you used Uber? Yeah. Well, guess what? The public are doing that as well. They want to self-serve as much as they possibly can, and then they want to still have a comfort that there's a human to deal with if something goes wrong. And Ian Preston from Preston Baker and Greenhouse OS, another thing to look at from the tech side, he puts it brilliantly. If you think of Amazon, hands up in the room if you've ever bought anything from Amazon. And please keep your hands up. Have you ever put your hands down if you've gone, do you know what, it would have been really helpful if I'd spoken to a person? Yeah? It's like, no one's ever gone, I wish I'd spoken to a person. Yeah. You get tracking, you get all the email stuff, it turns up through your door, happy days. So,
and that's why I think PB will make a resurgence. I really, really do, which is scary.
What was your point?
Okay. Well, I want to embarrass you. So I think tonight's been fantastic.
Thank you.
You both do a great job. You are Mr. Implementer. So I think now the fee system is broken in the country. No sale, no fee. How would you change that and get upfront marketing?
Okay, so that actually, we're like me and you, yin and yang. The Ian Preston thing was actually something I think in the negotiators today. So a client I work with up in Costa del Crosby in the northwest. Kate Costello there at Northwall. they've implemented Ian Preston's fee model, and they're bringing in like 10 grand a month. I can say that, it's been like openly said, from charging up front. And for anyone who's not listened to Ian on podcasts, really, really good guy to listen to. And he says, like, if you start at 2% with your fee and you come down to 1%, you've not discounted, you've been dishonest. Because what the owner realises is that you would have charged 2% if you could have got away with it. He talks about tradables, I think. So it's like, if you come to me and say, well, everyone else said 1%, that's totally cool, Mr. Brown. I will do 1%, but I need it all up front. And you in the room might be going, what the hell are you talking about? At Preston Baker, 80% of their sellers choose to pay something or everything up front. So again, we're preconditioned. It's quite mad. We're like the only industry, again, as a badge of honour, who go, do you know what? I'm going to do all this work and I'm going to sell, on average, 55% of what I list and get paid on it. It is madness. And again, Ian would break it down of, if your average fee is 5 grand, but you only sell 50% of what you list, your average fee is actually 2.5 grand. In that reality. So I think that thing, and just a very quick actionable tip if you're not interested in doing that, as much as you don't want to promote Rightmove, because if you start using their pens and their banners and their calendars, we're clearly not going to get sponsored by them now.
I think they're great. If you want to sponsor my podcast, I'll sell out.
But you can actually go into the Rightmove hub, and I don't know if anyone would have ever done this, but you can print off a leaflet for premium listing and featured properties. So there's an argument for whether you should have them or not. If you do have premium listing and featured properties within your business, go onto Rightmove Hub, order the minimum order, I think it's 50 leaflets, and it literally says on them, premium listing, recommended retail price, featured property, recommended retail price, and it works out about 750 quid. So just say to a seller, if they're saying, well, the other agent said 1, you're 1.5, look, I can't do anything on 1.5. What I can do is chuck in a premium listing and featured property, but RRP is at 750. I'm not going to charge you anything up front for that. And then you're giving value without discounting your fee.
Last question.
I think that's overthinking it.
Yeah?
Sorry to get involved, but you can't use a solicitor, you can't use an accountant. How many people, well, even people sitting down there, you can book a table at a restaurant without putting down a deposit. So the public actually are used to paying money out.
Yeah.
It's just the estate agents that don't. So we just charge a commitment fee. Yeah. I say you're investing in our services, X%. We charge £200 plus that upfront, a commitment fee, balance on completion. People argue the fee, they never argue the upfront amount.
So on a couple of bits that Matt has said there, I think I've said this to him before, his language is brilliant on that, calling it a commitment fee. Because again, going back to Preston Baker thing of people who pay up front are more likely to go through to complete, that's what Preston Baker found as well. Yeah. And then can you just elaborate on you didn't mention this point, but you literally, rather than trying to go from 1% to 2%, it's like marginal gains, isn't it? Go from 1 to 1.1 or from 1 to 1.2. You've done that where you've done the...
Oh, well, we've gone up. I put my fee up by 10%, so 10% for my keys. It was as simple as that. Like, the world went up, right? So he put my keys up by 10%. I was like, everything has to go up. So.
But everything does go up, doesn't it? Inflation, everything goes up, and
it's more expensive than it was even 3 years ago, apart from us. So we do that. But yeah, I mean, it comes off the fee at the end, so it's the language I use is £200 plus that front, balance on completion.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, cool. Right, who's gasping for a pint?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can we ask, we've got bin bags, haven't we, Kieran? This is where Anthony's looking very nervous. Before everyone runs to the pub, can everyone just try and put the chairs back where they found them, make sure everything goes into the bins, etc.
Just on the pub side of things, so he's being Mr. Sensible there. If anyone does want to congregate, there is a pub called the Cock Tavern, which is just around the corner. Very appropriate name for us two. So yeah, if you want to go there, Chris said he'd buy the first drink. You said that, didn't you?
I think Ollie did for the amount of times I've been calling him out.
No, thank you so much everyone for coming. We really appreciate the support. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Fucking hell, man.